Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story of what if Naruto has Saitama's powers, One Punch Man. Let's see how everything changes if Naruto was OP from the beginning. Let's begin now. Chapter 1. Deep within the forests of the Land of Fire, there sat a village that was the home to some of the most dangerous people on the planet. Hiruzen Sarutobi, otherwise known as the Professor, and the God of Shinobi. Kakashi Hatake, also known as the Copycat Ninja, Might Guy, known as Beautiful Green Beast, and many others were the people that called this village home. Not counting all of the clans that called it home. It also has one of the world's largest militaries. But you aren't here to hear about them. You're here to hear my story. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, also known as the Leaf's #1 Knuckle-Headed Ninja, and also another title that is a little more well-known. I am the One Punch Ninja, and this is my story. Nighttime in Konoha. 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki was running down a crowded street. Nearly everyone in the village was out tonight to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the death of the Kyuubi, as well as to mourn the loss of their previous leader, the 4th Hokage. And though Hiruzen had retaken the mantle of Hokage, it wasn't enough to drown out their grief. Little Naruto was one of the many kids whose parents had died during the Kyuubi's rampage. And he had been an orphan for as long as he could remember. Though the Hokage tried to help out where he could, it could never replace Naruto's longing for a home. The villagers ignored him. They treated him as if he was cursed, destined to be forgotten. So Naruto would play pranks on them to try and get their attention. But all that did was drive them further away. We now join Naruto as he was running away from a group of angry villagers that had recently been pranked. "Get back here, you brat!" a man yelled. His clothes dyed a bright orange from Naruto's most recent prank. Laughs. "Nah, you won't catch me," Naruto yelled back as he continued mad dash, nearly knocking a few people over in his haste to get away. And those he didn't knock over, the mob did. "Whoops, giggle sorry lady," he called out to a purple-haired woman he had almost knocked over. "Watch it, brat," she yelled. "Almost made me drop my dango, bump." The woman, Enko Mitarashi, had just taken a bite of her dango stick when the crowd reached her and accidentally knocked the dango out of her hand as they ran by. Everything almost seemed to slow down for Enko as she watched her precious dango fall to the ground. You bastards," she roared as she took off after the mob. As Enko was a chunin, and quite a good ninja, she quickly caught up to the mob and proceeded to knock most of them unconscious. She then spent an additional 30 minutes lecturing them on the glory that was dango and why they should never waste a single bite, even referring to them as the food of the gods. Though an echoed voice replied that ramen was the food of the gods, she decided to ignore that. Naruto managed to get away from the mob after a majority of them had been KO'd by Enko. He dove inside an alleyway that he knew to lead back to the orphanage. One of the perks of being a street rat, as the villagers called him sometimes, was that he knew most of the streets like the back of his hand. A useful thing to know when you're planning to run away from a mob of people you just pranked. Naruto was just exiting the alleyway, after making sure that no one was still chasing him, of course, when he spotted two ninjas walking down the empty street. One of them had gravity-defying silver hair and was reading an orange book. The other had a bowl-cut hairstyle and the bushiest eyebrows Naruto had ever seen. He was also wearing a skin-tight jumpsuit. But Naruto tried his best not to look at it. "I wonder where they're going. The festival is in the other direction," Naruto quietly said to himself. Although, quietly, for Naruto was how an average person normally spoke. "I'm gonna follow M," he once again spoke out loud. "He knows we can hear him, right?" The silver-haired one asked the other. "Ah, the springtime of youth is strong in the little one. What's the harm in letting him follow us, Kakashi?" The bowl-cut responded. "Sigh, none at all," Kakashi replied. "Stomp's foot, curse you Kakashi and your cool attitude," he yelled. Did you say something, guy? Gah. That's it, I'm winning this time for sure. If you say so." The two continued to bicker until they reached an empty training ground. "Same as usual, guy?" Kakashi asked, putting his book away as he did. "Normally I wouldn't object to our usual contest. But, how about this time? We give our little follower a show, Guy asked as he was taking off his weighted vest and arm-leg bands. What did you have in mind? Sparring. Sigh, sparring it is then. The two of them prepared themselves for their contest to begin. Kakashi raised his headband while Guy did his stretches. They were waiting for the signal to begin, that signal being a leaf that was going to touch the ground. Now, they disappeared in a burst of speed, only reappearing when they made contact with each other. Naruto was attempting to watch, but he could only see them vanishing only to appear in another place a second later as loud booms shook the landscape. Boom punch blocked crash kick dodged asterisk slam a new crater being formed by a kick Kakashi dodged. Whoa. Naruto had never seen a real ninja fight before. Sure, he had seen plenty of the Chunin sparring. Although he may have been focused on pranking them at the time. But they were never this intense. These two were changing the landscape with their fight. Mostly Guy, though Kakashi had one or two craters as well. Naruto had always wanted to be a powerful ninja. He wanted to be looked up to. He wanted to be praised. But most importantly, he didn't want to be forgotten. That's why he signed up for the Ninja Academy. That was starting next month. He wanted to be like these two, ninja. He thought with stars in his eyes as he daydreamed about being an all-powerful ninja. A ninja so strong he could end every fight. With a single punch. Enjoying the show. Someone said from behind him. Ah. Naruto screamed. His body tipped forward until he landed on his face from the fright. Aren't you allowed one? Kakashi asked while picking his ear. He was hoping the kid didn't cause him to go deaf. But, how? You're over there fighting that guy. Naruto responded, loudly. I'm also over here. What's your point? How are you in two places at once? Can you teach me? Please. Naruto yells. The stars were back in his eyes from seeing this ninja do what he thought was impossible. Aren't you a bit young to be trying to learn Jutsu, kid? What are you like, 3? Hey. I'm 5 years old today. Oh. Happy birthday then. The silver ninja replied as he pulled out his book again and began to read. Though he lowered it once he noticed how quiet the kid was being. He looked down to see the kid smiling while holding the hem of his shirt. What? You told me happy birthday. The kid responded. Now much quieter than he was before. Kakashi's eyebrow quirked upwards. And, you act like no one has ever told you happy birthday before. Just Gigi. Kakashi was confused for a few seconds. Until he realized what the kid meant. Oh. I'm sorry. That caused Naruto's smile to widen further. It's okay. Because one day, I'm going to be the world's strongest ninja. He started with a yell, before in a much quieter voice he added. That way. I'll never be forgotten again. Kakashi felt bad for the kid. He really did. Is that all you want? Is the only reason you want to be strong just for the strength itself, or is there another reason? Naruto thought about it for a few seconds. A look of concentration on his face. No. I also want to protect the ones I care about. That's also why I want to be strong. I never knew my parents. I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay. I have other people that are important to me, now. Naruto's happiness was starting to come back. Oh. Like who? There's old man Ichiraku and his daughter Ayame. Naruto listed off on his fingers. Then there's Gigi and that girl with the pretty eyes. He finished his smile is now fully back. Girl with the pretty eyes, huh? I wonder who he's talking about. It sounds like you have a lot of people to protect. You better get strong then. I will. When I join the academy next month. I'm going to train until I'm the strongest there is. A noble goal, my young friend. Guy yelled from directly behind Naruto. Causing him to fall over again. Will you quit that? Naruto complained. Oh ho, sorry about that, young man. I was just so excited to hear your reply that I could not contain myself. Why? Well, how about I give you some advice to help you out on your journey? Really? What is it? Are you going to teach me a awesome jutsu? Naruto quickly replied, nope. Naruto fell on his face from the quick answer. I'm going to teach you something much better. That perked him back up. Naruto wondered what it was going to be. Chakra exercises, a book on how to make an all-powerful jutsu. Or maybe he was going to show him how to do that cool, being in two places at once thing. What is it? Tell me, please. Naruto yelled as he nodded his head in excitement. I'm going to teach you how to. What? Exercise. Guy happily responded. Naruto face planted again from the answer he was given. Fine. If you didn't want to help me, you should have just said so. Naruto yelled. He turned to storm off. Was your resolve really so weak? He heard Kakashi ask. My resolve is not weak. Then why do you walk away when the most prominent taijutsu expert in Konoha is trying to teach you something? Was this bushy brow guy that good? Naruto thought for a moment before heading back to his place in front of Guy. Okay, I'll learn what you have to teach me, he said. Excellent. Follow me, Guy yelled. He pulled Naruto along as he started walking back to the center of the now crater-filled training field. Now, my young friend, I am going to teach you how to get much stronger and to get you ready for your academy years. Are you ready? Yes, sir. Naruto eagerly responded. Neither Naruto nor Guy noticed when Kakashi left, so engrossed in the lesson as they were. From that night until early the next morning, Guy had Naruto doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and running around the training field. Every time he thought Naruto had reached his limit, the kid would stand back up after only a few minutes rest, eager to go again. When Guy finally did leave the next morning, he gave Naruto this last piece of advice. Remember, my young friend, do these exercises as often as you can, increasing the reps as you get older. Wouldn't want you to injure yourself, now would we? No, Guy-sensei. Great. I'll see you around then, young man. I have to report to the Hokage now, bye-bye. Guy yelled before vanishing in a whirlwind of leaves. So cool, Naruto said with stars in his eyes. He stood there for a few seconds before he decided to do another set of his exercises. That one set would turn into another, then another, and another. Before Naruto would finally make his way home to go to bed. The next morning he would wake up and be ready to go again. With a little help from a certain giant red furball. And he would continue those exercises every single day. And he would continue to do those exercises every single day. Even when his bones ached, his muscles tore, his skin peeled, and poured blood. Naruto, for the sake of his desires, never once faltered in doing what that ninja had told him. Even after he forgot what he looked like, he continued doing those exercises. After he joined the Ninja Academy and they had their own exercises they would have him do. After he got home, he would once again do those same exercises. Years passed this way. The first year, he didn't notice anything different. And the second year was the same way. So he simply increased his reps and the number of sets he would do. The third year he noticed he had gotten stronger. Though he had nothing to test his strength on, he could feel it. Academy doesn't start sparring practice until the kids were 9. Though for the ninja class kids, target practice, chakra training, and learning tactics began when they were 6. The fourth year was when he proved to himself that he was getting stronger. In class one day at the academy. Alright class, today, we begin sparring practice. Now, I know that a lot of you don't really know how to fight yet. And that's okay, you'll learn that later. For now, I just want you to get used to sparring with each other. And next week we'll begin to teach you the academy style of taijutsu. Iruka Yumino, a chunin in charge of Naruto's class, announced from his place at the front of the classroom. While that may have been true for a portion of the class, the majority of Naruto's class, the important ones anyway, were all children from the various clans that called Konoha home. And they were all taught their clan's taijutsu from a young age. As well as the chakra techniques they would later be known for. As such, they all had a significant advantage over their fellow students. And Naruto, who, while having zero formal training whatsoever, had been training his butt off for 4 years by this point. Unknown to all but one, pretty-eyed, heiress, was looked down on by the rest of the class as he acted as the class clown to get attention. When the sparring matches were announced, everyone looked at Naruto with pity in their eyes as he was paired with the idol of the class, Sasuke, or as Naruto called him, Sasage. Uchiha, ready to lose, Dobi. Sasuke sneered at Naruto as he got into his clan's taijutsu stance. The taunting didn't faze Naruto though. He was too eager to test his strength against the prodigy to be concerned about what Sasuke had to say. Begin, Iruka yelled. And Sasuke dashed forward. Naruto didn't move though. He just stood there, waiting. It looks like the Dabi's scared. One kid jeered, causing the rest of the class to laugh. Come on Naruto. You can do it. A tilde A circumflex 1, pretty-eyed, heiress, quietly cheered. Sasuke was closing in on Naruto now. So he jumped and led with his right leg forward in an attempt to kick Naruto in the chest. His leg was intercepted with one hand though. Right before Sasuke could make contact, Naruto raised his right hand and grabbed his foot mid-kick. "So slow," Naruto said. He swung his arm to the right, which took Sasuke along with it, and released his foot right before his arm was fully extended, sending Sasuke flying out of the ring and onto the hard ground below, where he tumbled unconsciously to a stop, hit his head on the ground when Naruto threw him. The jeering and laughing class was now completely silent as Naruto made his way out of the ring. "Great job Naruto," A circumflex Hinata cheered inside her head. For she was much too shy to do so aloud. Good job, Naruto," Iruka said after a few seconds of pause. "Hehe, thanks, Iruka-sensei," Naruto happily responded. "Right, that's all for today's class. You're all dismissed. But Iruka-sensei, what about Sasuke?" One of the girls fangirls asked. "I'll take him to the infirmary until he wakes up. You all go home." Iruka dismissed them with a wave, before picking Sasuke up and carrying him away. When Naruto reached his home that day, he once again started up his routine. Exercise until you can't move, then do it again after resting for a few minutes. Such was Naruto's life in the academy. No matter who he fought in the sparring ring, it always ended in one move. And as he got older, all of his classmates seemed to get slower and weaker with time. By the time he was 10, they no longer allowed him to spar with his classmates, as their egos were being destroyed from sparring with Naruto. So instead during the sparring class, he would begin his exercises early. His workouts now were a far cry from the 100 of each that guy had taught him to do. It now consisted of 1,000 of each followed by a quick 10-mile run. He would do the real run of 50 miles after he got home. His exercises staggered his classmates, as they had never really seen him put effort into anything. But now that they saw this, they had a little bit more respect for the blonde. They still thought he was an idiot, though. A few times, Sasuke tried to do the exercises with Naruto. However, he collapsed after only doing half of them and he couldn't move for the rest of the day. 3 more years passed this way until finally, it was time for their exams. And it was time to see just how strong Naruto was. Hope everyone enjoyed this chapter. It was really fun making this. Now let's continue chapter 2. Chapter 2 Naruto arrived at the academy building early this morning wearing his bright orange and blue jumpsuit. He wanted to get a seat close to the front. The exams went by row from the closest to the farthest. So he wanted to be one of the first to go for his exam. He was confident that he could pass. And although he still had trouble with the clone jutsu, the other parts of his exam he knew he would do well on. Unless he accidentally cuts down a tree or two during the kunai and shuriken exam. The instructors yelled at him last time he did that. Like it was his fault the trees around the academy were so easy to cut down, with a blunt kunai. Okay, so maybe he did need to learn to control his strength. But the wall they also went through definitely wasn't his fault. Those bricks obviously weren't up to code, or something. No way that shuriken would have gone through it so easy otherwise. Although, seeing Sasuke without the duck butt hairstyle was quite a novelty. He was walking to the bathroom that was on the other side of the wall. The girls fangirls loved it. Anyway, Naruto was making his way to the classroom when he heard yelling. But Hokage-sama, surely you can't be serious about this. He heard Iruka yell. So he slowly crept his way up to the wall and pressed his ear against the door. Indeed I am, Iruka. I feel it is time for a change in how we do things. He heard Sarutobi, his Gigi, reply to Iruka. But, these trials are ridiculous. We haven't covered any of this material and this will cause most, if not all of the civilian students to fail. Iruka said. And why is that, Iruka? Are you saying that your students are ill-prepared for what they will face in the real world? Hiruzen calmly asked. Well no, but, Sai I understand Hokage-sama. We'll go and get the trials set up. Iruka bowed to the Hokage. Then he made his way to the door, his company sensei Mizuki following behind. Naruto heard them approaching and disappeared from his spot by the door, right as they opened it. The two of them made their way down the hallway before turning the corner and disappearing from sight. Phew, that was close. Naruto said as he reappeared, having jumped up and grabbed hold of the ceiling tile with his fingertips, more like through the ceiling tiles. In order to not be seen. I see, I was correct in my assumption that you would find a way to eavesdrop, Naruto. Hiruzen said from the other side of the door. Hehe, I never could hide from you, Gigi. He said while rubbing the back of his head. A nervous tic he had developed when he was younger. Sarutobi smiled. You're getting there, Naruto. I just have a few more decades experience than you. More like centuries, pow. Gigi, that hurt. Naruto complained while rubbing his forehead. Sarutobi hit him with his pipe. Don't lie, Naruto. You didn't feel that at all, did you? He asked. He knew the truth of the matter as he watched Naruto any chance he had. And he saw just how strong the blonde really was. You got me, Gigi, hehe. So, how many reps are you up to now? 10,000 reps apiece in a 50-mile sprint around the village. The sheer amount surprised Hiruzen. He knew the blonde to be exercising a lot. But he had no idea just how high the number actually was. Don't you think that's a bit high? No. I don't even get sore with that number anymore. I'm thinking about doubling it soon. Was Naruto's reply. I see. Hiruzen just shook his head. What was that about anyway? You know I won't answer that, Naruto. Come on, Gigi. At least give me a hint, please. Naruto whined. No, Naruto. You'll have to wait to find out, just like everyone else. Figures. Naruto huffed. Run along now. I have work to do before your exam starts. You'll be there. Laughs. Yes, I will be there. So put on a good show, okay. I will, Gigi. Naruto replied while running out of the room. Sigh. You grew up so fast, Naruto. Did I really do all that I could to help you? Hiruzen asked no one. You did what you could, Hokage-sama. Hello Kakashi, you're actually on time. Shadow clone, Hokage-sama. Sigh, of course you are. Are you ready for your trial? Yes, Hokage-sama. Training Ground 7 has been prepared and is ready for the brats. Good, at least you're prepared. However, should you be late for your trial, I'll knock you back down to Genin and have you catching Tora for a month. Quote. Yes sir, Hokage-sama. You're dismissed then, Kakashi. The shadow clone burst into smoke and Hiruzen was alone again. It's going to be an interesting day, at the very least. He said aloud before he walked out of the room on his way to his office. Back with Naruto. Naruto had made his way to the classroom where he found that he wasn't the first one to arrive. Sasuke was here, as was Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Akamaru, Shikamaru Naru, Choji Akamichi, and Shino Aburame. So most of the Ahem Rookie 9 were here already. The clan kids at least. The only clan kid that was missing was Ino. Though she was most likely with Sakura. Sigh, I hope she doesn't sit next to me again. I'm not good at dealing with Shutter's fangirls. And it was true, they were both fangirls. And while not completely useless. Okay, they were useless in a fight. However, they were smart. Both of them. As long as Sasuke wasn't in the room. Then they were dumber than I was. Yes, I'm fully aware that I'm not the smartest kid in the class. Anytime, either of them sits next to me. All I hear for the duration of the class is how I'm weaker than Sasuke. Despite him never winning a fight between us. That I'm dumber than Sasuke. Granted, that part is probably true. Doesn't mean I want to hear it. And how much of a better guy he is than me. I guess they think if they say it enough, it'll come true. He doesn't act like a better guy when he's insulting them. They don't see that though. All they see is his pedigree and the whole tragic hero backstory he's got going on. Parents murdered by psychopath older brother. Though when I met Itachi, he was a nice guy. So he's paraded around the villages, the last Uchiha. Bringing about an even cooler image to all of his Ahem fans. Still doesn't change the fact that he's an asshole, though. Anyway, Naruto made his way over to the farthest seat from Sasuke on the front row. Where he sat down and lay his head on the desk. Hoping that he could catch some sleep before whatever trial Gigi had planned, began. That's also where Naruto was when Iruka and Mizuki arrived. Good morning class. Iruka yelled. Good morning, Iruka-sensei. They responded, most of them at least. Wake up, Naruto. Pop! A piece of chalk impacted the blonde's head. Ow. Oh, hey Iruka-sensei. Hello, Naruto. Glad you could join us. We didn't wake you, did we? Hee. Sorry, Iruka-sensei. The blonde replied, his nervous tick again showing up. Well, now that we're all here, and awake. Sensei. Shikamaru's still sleeping. Sakura pointed out. Once again, now that we're all here and awake. Let's begin. Iruka moved over to the chalkboard. Today is your graduation exam. The day when you leave the safety of the academy and move on to being a true ninja. And, my comrade in arms. Take a moment to give yourselves a round of applause for making it this far, everyone. Iruka said as he led the applause for a few seconds. Now, normally the way would do this, is to have each of you take a 4-part test. Starting with what you've learned in your time here in the academy. Followed by an evaluation of your kunai and shuriken accuracy, then a round of sparring would take the 3rd spot. And ending with evaluating your jutsu. Hey, Iruka-sensei. Let's start the test already, we're ready to go. Isn't that right, Akamaru? Bark ahem, as I was saying before you interrupted me, Kiba. Iruka said with a glare in Kiba's direction. That was how we normally did things. This time, however, Hokage-sama has decided that we were going to do something different to test whether or not you are ready to earn your headband. Like what, Iruka-sensei? That isn't for me to know, beyond what I'm supposed to test you on. With that being said, Mizuki, please pass out these tests to the class. We are beginning with Konoha's history. Everyone groans. An hour later, you all did a fantastic job. And I wish you luck on the next part of your exams. Iruka said with a bow before he and Mizuki left the room. They weren't gone long before another person walked in. This was a tall man with black hair and he had a cigarette in his mouth. And hails, hello, everyone. My name is Asuma Sarutobi, Jonin, pleased to meet you. Hello, Asuma-sensei, the class responded. I am here to give you, your first trial of the day. Follow me, he said before walking out the door as the class scrambled to catch up. He led them out to the target range, or, what used to be the target range. Instead, it had an obstacle course set up. This is my trial for you. An obstacle course, Asuma-sensei? Ino asked. Yes, an obstacle course. So listen up, he shouted. Starting from that line over there. You will jump the wall where you will find 5 kunai and 5 shuriken. Using these weapons, you will hit the targets inside the course while dodging the obstacles and staying on the path. There is a red line on the other side of that wall that you must stay on at all times. Make it to the other side, and you pass. Fall off the red line, miss too many targets, or take too much time. And you fail this trial. There is a grand total of 4 trials to complete and you must pass at least 3 of them to become a ninja. Any questions so far? He asked the class. What happens if we fail? One student asked. You are kicked out of the ninja program. Next question. How much time do we have to complete the obstacles? You have 10 minutes to complete the 1,000-foot obstacle course. How is the course 1,000 feet, if the target range is only 200 feet long? Sakura asked. And we have our first volunteer. What's your name, miss? It's Sakura Haruno, but, well, Sakura. That's because you have to run this course 5 times, each time through you are given a new set of kunai and shuriken as well as new targets to aim for. You have to hit in a vital area, or that counts as a miss. Gulp. Okay. Begin whenever you're ready. Once you get to the end, hit the big red button to stop your time. Better hurry though. Your time doesn't reset from one run to the next. Right, I'm ready. The timer begins after you've jumped the wall. After Sakura entered the obstacle course. Those of us on the outside could hear her screaming, explosions and quite a few loud thuds coming from inside the walls of the obstacle course. When she finally made it to the other end, 4 of her 10 minutes had passed, and she looked ragged. Her clothes were torn, hair was burnt in several places and she was missing a shoe. But, she made it out. Congratulations, Sakura. You have successfully completed your first run. Would you like to continue now, or rest first? Asuma asked with a lit cigarette in his mouth. Rest, please. Very well. Ino Yamanaka, you're up next. He called out. I have a stomach ache, she replied. Too bad. You shouldn't have shown up for class today then. Now, you're up. Kiba Inuzuka, you're on deck. Yes, sir. Kiba squeaked out. Asuma scared him. And that was how the class of 30 was narrowed down to 20. with almost half of the civilian students either dropping out or failing the trial. That only left the clan children and 11 civilian students at the end of the day. With only one student remaining. Sasuke Uchiha, your remaining time was 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Which puts you in first place. With second place trailing behind by over a minute. All of Sasuke's fans cheered for him getting first. Though there was still one student remaining. *HNN**, beat that, Dobi. Sasuke said to Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, are you ready? Asuma asked. Yes, sir. Then begin whenever you're ready. Naruto was off before he could finish. Once Naruto's feet landed on the opposite side of the wall. He grabbed the weapons provided and started his trial. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Naruto counted his shots as he ducked under, jumped over and dodged around obstacles. 9 and 10. Gong. The red button had been pressed. And his final time was 15 seconds to finish his first run. And if that wasn't shocking enough for Asuma and his classmates, his time only got better from there. The second run was 12 seconds. The third run was 9 and the fourth was 5 seconds. His final run was completed in just 3 seconds from start to finish. And the targets weren't just hit in vital areas. The kunai and shuriken went through the targets, the walls and the trees behind those walls. Before finally coming to a stop in some trees that were around 300 feet away from where they had been thrown from. Needless to say, Naruto passed the first trial. Well, I can honestly say that I didn't expect that. Asuma replied. His cigarette having long since fallen out of his mouth from the surprise. His classmates were no better off. As they were all currently trying process what they had just witnessed. Oh, well, on to your next trial. You all need to head to the sparring arena now. And good job, everyone. Asuma said the class made their way over to the sparring arena where they were greeted with the sight of bushy brows. Naruto cheered. Oh. Hello, again my youthful friend. Guy greeted Naruto. I did those exercises you taught me. Excellent job my young friend. Maybe one day you can train with my apprentice and me, as we travel down the springtime of our youths. Guy exclaimed in his, nice guy, pose. Really? That would be awesome. Indeed it would. Though for now, we must get these trials out of the way. Oh, right. While this conversation was going on, Naruto's class was looking between the two in confusion. How does the Dobi know a Jonin? Sasuke thought. Oh my god. Those eyebrows, that hair, that gag outfit. I'm going to need bleach to get rid of this image. Sakura thought. I wonder if there are any barbecue chips in the cafeteria. That was Choji, enough said. My name is Might Guy. And today my youthful friends. We will be having a sparring tournament. So, who wants to be my first volunteers? Come up and let your youthful flames clash against one another and let's see, whose burns brightest. Guy yelled. I challenge the Dobi. Sasuke snarled while looking at the blonde. I'm unfamiliar with this, Dobi, you speak of. Is that a classmate of yours? He means me, Guy-sensei. Ah, Naruto. Very well then, up you come. The two headed into the ring. The rules are simple. If you win 3 fights, you pass. But, if you lose 3 fights, you fail the trial and are kicked from the ninja program. Any questions? Guy asked before he allowed the fight to start. Any rules during the match that we should be aware of? Shino asked. A good question my creepy friend. No death blows and no serious injuries allowed. Otherwise, fight until one of you cannot move or is ejected from the ring. Any more questions? Why did you call me creepy? Don't take it personally my creepy friend. Your father creeps me out too. I see. Enough with the questions, let's fight Dobi. Sasuke yelled as he charged at Naruto. Well, he would have if not for one little problem. Tap. Naruto had vanished from his spot before Sasuke had taken his first step, reached him before he could blink and had lightly pushed his chest. Though at the speed he was moving, it had felt like he just got hit by a cannonball. That light push propelled Sasuke out of the ring and onto the hard ground, where he rolled until he impacted the trunk of a tree, rendering him unconscious. Naruto, while standing where Sasuke was just a second ago, turned to his classmates and asked, anyone else wanna have a go? Everyone shakes their heads. Very well done my young friend. Who's your next opponent? They don't want to fight me. Oh. Why does no one want to fight Naruto? He asked the class. Their response was to collectively take 2 steps back. Guy frowned at their behavior but otherwise didn't do anything. Most unyouthful of you all. He yelled before looking back at Naruto. I'm sorry for that most unsatisfying match, Naruto. That's okay. I haven't had a good fight in this class in ever. Then how about after the trials are completely over? You come and train with me and my apprentice. Wait. You were serious? Of course I was. You can join us anytime you like, Guy said in his nice guy pose. Thanks, Guy-sensei. Naruto cheered as he jumped off of the stage so the next fight could get underway. Shikamaru Nara and Kiba Inuzuka. You're up. The rest of the student went up to fight one by one until, by the end of this trial, the number of potential ninja had dropped from 20 to 15. Sasuke, unfortunately, woke up and demanded to fight Naruto again. He was denied on the grounds that Naruto had already been declared to have passed. So he took his frustration out on some civilian students. And ultimately passed as well. Very well done. That concludes the day's testing as your next trials won't begin until tomorrow. So, my young friends, go home and rest for today. Goodbye. Guy yelled before vanishing in a burst of speed. The class separated and went home for the day. Well, Naruto went to exercise. But, the rest went home to sleep. Hokage's office. Hiruzen, Asuma and Guy had been inside talking about the new ninja trainees. And as they worked their way down the list they finally got to Naruto's name. So, Guy, Asuma. What did you think of Naruto Uzumaki? Hiruzen asked. His ever-present pipe hanging from his mouth. Asuma and Guy looked at each other. It was Asuma that broke the silence. That boy is, well, in a word. He's a monster. Oh. How so, Asuma? He completed the obstacle course in 44 seconds. Hokage-sama. While that is impressive, Asuma. I don't see how that means he's a monster. We have plenty of ninja who can do the same. What was his collective time? Hokage-sama, that was his collective time. Hiruzen accidentally inhaled too sharply and his pipe hit the back of his throat causing him to have a coughing fit. Coughing cough, are you certain? Yes, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen took a few deep breaths before looking at Guy. I confess to having only seen a brief explosion of his flames of youth, Hokage-sama. English, Guy. He only needed to fight one round, Hokage-sama. The other children refused to fight him, so I let him pass. Guy replied in a much calmer fashion this time. Hiruzen rubbed the bridge of his nose. I see, very well. You are dismissed. Yes, sir. Hokage-sama. The two saluted before disappearing. I'm starting to believe that putting him in a team with other children might be a bad idea. Hiruzen tiredly said as he looked out over his village. Chapter 3. The next day the kids had all reassembled in the classroom. And while most were eager to begin the final trials, some weren't so eager. I don't know if I can do this anymore, Ino. I almost failed both the first and second trials. And I just know that if I had fought one of the clan kids, I would have failed the second. Sakura complained. Don't be so hard on yourself, forehead. You were ahead of the other civilian kids by a lot. I'm sure that if you keep going, you'll get that headband. Sasuke is mine though, so don't go getting any bright ideas. Snicker. Ino turned her head, saw that it was Naruto that had laughed. What's so funny, Baka? She snarled. Her outburst having drawn Sakura's attention. What happened, Ino? Sakura asked. Naruto, over there, finds what I said about Sasuke being mine funny. Oh, well it's obvious why then, isn't it? How so? Because Sasuke is mine, Ino pig. The two started to bicker. Completely forgetting about Naruto. Why can't the two of them understand that he's not interested in them, or any of the other girls? Now that I think about it, I'm the only one he seems to pay attention to. Is he gay? Naruto wondered to himself. Glancing to his left he saw Sasuke staring at him. So was Hinata, but he couldn't see her. That's so creepy. If you have something to say, just say it. And stop staring at me. Achoo. Are you okay, Hinata? You're not coming down with something, are you? Naruto looked at Hinata and asked. Her face turned scarlet red. In order to hide it, she slammed her face down on the deck and covered her head. Whoa. Hinata, are you okay? Naruto hurriedly stood up and walked to where she was sitting. Where he crouched down to her eye level. Hey, Hinata-chan, are you okay? He quietly asked. He didn't realize the effects his words had on her. He called me Chan. She internally celebrated. Her face eventually getting so red so looked like an overripe tomato. Naruto, oblivious to this, continued to call her name and poke her arm. Hinata-chan, come on. Answer me. He would whine into her ear. Eek. His mouth is right beside my cheek. Is he going to kiss it? Yeah. She was off in her own little world. The door slid open and a woman with long black hair and red eyes walked in. Attention everyone. She yelled to get their attention. Which she got after only a few seconds. Thank you. Now, my name is Kurenai Yuhi Jonan, and the examiner for your third trial. Please, all of you stand up and follow me. We are heading to the gym. The class stood up and followed her out the door. Except Hinata, who Naruto thought was unconscious. So he just picked her up and carried her. And let's be honest, she definitely isn't going to move now. Upon reaching the gym and heading inside, they noticed several small, covered rooms had been built inside. Kurenai-sensei, what are the rooms for? Sakura asked. That will be explained momentarily. We must wait on everyone to arrive. Okay, sensei. Sakura agreed. Then she headed over to where Ino and some of her friends were standing. They only had to wait for about 10 minutes before a door at the other end of the building opened. Thank you for bringing them here, Kurenai. Yes, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, had come to see their trial. Most of the class wondered. Let's see if you can guess which is which. He's probably here to see how strong I am before he assigns me the mission I need, so I can kill my brother. Should be obvious. I'm hungry, again, shouldn't be too hard. Why is Hokage-sama here? I bet it's because of Sasuke-kun. Cough fangirl asterisk cough. Hey, it's Gigi. He's not still mad about the paint bomb I threw into his window this morning, is he? Hiruzen glared at this person for a moment. Yep, he's still mad. Blonde menace. Hiruzen mumbled. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama. Nothing, Kurenai. Ahem, good morning class. Morning Hokage-sama. Today, you begin your final trials before we issue your headband. Is that what the rooms are for, Hokage-sama? Indeed they are, Miss. Haruno, Sakura Haruno. Ah, yes, Mebuki and Kazashi's daughter. You're correct, the rooms you see before you are part of your trial. Kurenai, would you like to explain? Yes, Hokage-sama. The rooms you see before you each have a machine in it that will test certain aspects of your body, in order to determine where you rank as a ninja. Does that mean we can skip Genin? Kiba asked. Though most of the class were also wondering the same thing. No, all ninja, regardless of power level, must go through the ranks properly. These machines are simply used to tell us what you're best at and where you can improve. However, you have to rank at least Genin, in 3 of the 4 rooms to pass this trial. Class groans. Now. None of that. Think of it as a friendly competition between you to see who can get the higher score. In that case, the others shouldn't even try. It's obvious who's going to win. Guess who? That very well may be the case, Sasuke. We won't know until we're tested though. Shino responded in his usual monotone. I'm going first then. Kiba yelled before he ran inside the closest room. The rest of the class followed along until Kurenai stopped them. Only one student at a time. Get in a single file line and wait your turn. You'll all go, whether you want or not. Though she said the last bit quietly, it still sent a chill down the class's spines. A few minutes passed before Kiba exited the first room, and he looked exhausted. Please continue on to the next room, Mr. Inuzuka. And no talking. Kurenai coldly said, causing Kiba to whimper. He still followed orders though. The rest of the class followed in his steps one by one. Until Naruto was the only one left, to have not gone. Your turn, Naruto. Yes, Gigi, he yelled. He had been waiting for this moment for over an hour now. He walked up to the first room, pushed the curtain aside and headed in. Once inside, he saw a large machine with a computer screen on the front of it. To its left side, was a much smaller machine with a hole on the front of it that was about the size of Naruto's arm. Please put your arm inside the machine, Naruto. This machine will determine how much chakra you have and how dense it is. Kurenai said over the intercom. Yes, Kurenai-sensei. He replied back, before rolling up his left sleeve and sliding his arm in as far as it would go. when he felt a slight pull on his chakra reserves coming from the machine. Do not worry if you almost run out of chakra. The purpose of this machine is to drain you to the lowest point you can get, before passing out. Can you speed this up please? Why? It shouldn't take more than a few minutes. Because it feels like you're taking just enough to do a clone jutsu from me. Quote. Come again. I normally use more chakra than this to do my clone jutsu. Kurenai was shocked. From her place at the monitoring terminal, she could see just how much chakra had already been taken from the blonde. And it was more than most Chunin had. Hokage-sama, you need to see this. She called out. A few seconds later, Hiruzen arrived by her side. What is it? Take a look at this, sir. She pointed at the screen. The number was still rapidly climbing, even though he had already passed Tokubetsu Jonin level chakra reserves. So that's why he could never do the clone jutsu. Hiruzen muttered. Sir, Naruto has never been able to successfully use the clone jutsu. And I think that may be to blame. He motioned to the screen where the number was rapidly approaching cage level reserves. As they watched the number climb higher, it passed cage level and into the S-class level. Hokage-sama, could this be because of that? Hiruzen just smiled. No, this is all him. He replied as the number finally came to a stop at 500,000 CP. Chakra points, and was 10 times as dense as his own chakra. Look at that, he's not even tired yet. That's because the machine only goes up to that much. Are you saying that it's even higher than that? That's exactly what I'm saying, Kurenai. Hiruzen grabbed the microphone. Very good, Naruto. Proceed to the next room. Yes, Gigi. Tell no one, am I clear? Yes, Hokage-sama. The two of them watched another screen as he entered the second room. Inside was another machine, this one was spread out along the walls on both sides of the door. This machine will test your reflexes and dodging speed, Naruto. If you get hit 10 times you fail, understood? Yes. Machine will begin firing in 3, 2, 1. Go. When Kurenai finished her countdown, small plastic balls filled with red paint were fired out of the holes along the machine's surface at Naruto. He stood in one place until right before they reached him. Then his right arm started to blur, while the rest of him, aside from his eyes, remained motionless. It went on like that for 5 minutes before the machine ran out of balls to shoot. And at Naruto's feet was a small mountain of paint-filled balls that he had caught and then dropped. That's amazing. Yes, Hokage-sama. But how did he manage that at his age? An experienced Jonin, I could understand being able to do such a thing. Though she would struggle with it herself. But a kid who hasn't even made genin yet. Naruto is unique. He has spent every day since he was 5, working his body to its utmost limit. This doesn't surprise me nearly as much as his chakra did. I see. Good job, Naruto. Next room please. Yes. In the next room, there was a table with a dark vest laying on it. What's this for Gigi? The vest is covered in a gravity sealing matrix. What will that do? It will be used to see just how much weight you can hold and for how long. Okay. Naruto picked up the vest and slid it on over his clothes. Activate it slowly, Kurenai. Let's see just how strong he really is. Yes, Hokage-sama. She activated the gravity seals, by placing her hands in the ram sign and slowly turned them on. But Naruto appeared to have not noticed. Kurenai, did you turn them on? Yes, sir. What is it at currently? Quote. Kurenai. It's going up by 10 pounds per second, sir. The floor is a giant scale used to measure how heavy the seals make Naruto. Hiruzen looked over and saw that the screen said that Naruto weighed 1,000 pounds more than he did when he walked into the room. And that number was rising rapidly. A few minutes passed before Hiruzen decided to end the test. To the end, Naruto never noticed what happened. When he stopped the test and told Naruto to go to the final room. The scale was saying that Naruto weighed over 10,000 pounds more than he did at the start. When Naruto walked into the final room, all he saw was a round pad, mounted on a steel beam, embedded into the floor. This is a simple punching machine, Naruto. I want you to hit it as hard as you possibly can. Can I really? Yes, you can hit it as hard as you can. This is what Guy uses to train his apprentice. Yada. Naruto yelled as he prepared to throw his punch. Pause. If you have seen Op Man, you know this was probably a bad idea. He slid his right leg forward while pulling his left back, and he brought both arms up in front of his chin. He bounced in place for a few seconds before. Serious punch. That punch forever scarred the minds of Kurenai and Hiruzen. The moment he launched his punch and it started to pick up speed, the air exploded behind him. The arc his fist traveled in left behind the smell of ozone as it burned the air. The water molecules in the air in front of his fist evaporated. And when he made contact, whoosh, the pad and beam both turned to ash due to the force of his fist. As did the wall behind the pad, the floor and wall of the gym behind that wall. Then 200 feet of woodlands outside of the gym were left a barren wasteland. The trees had all been either vaporized or sent flying. The ground had a large circular scar radiating outwards from where the punch was thrown from, getting bigger the farther away it got. Until it finally came to a stop. And all of that was because Hiruzen told him to punch as hard as he could. And this was at 12 years old, with no formal training in chakra amplification or any taijutsu techniques. Oh my god! Kurenai exclaimed before she covered her mouth. That is a apt statement, Kurenai. Hiruzen agreed. He retook the microphone. Naruto, rejoin your classmates, please. Sorry about that, Gigi. I got too excited about finally being able to hit something as hard as I could. It's okay, Naruto. Just promise me you won't do that in the more populated areas of the village, okay? I promise, Gigi. Good. Now, because your tests were taking so long, we sent your classmates ahead to the next trial. You can sit this one out if you'd like, as you've already passed the number of trials necessary to become a ninja. Is it okay if I go for the last trial anyway? Of course it is. Though regardless, if you pass this trial or not, you are already a ninja of the village. The trial is taking place at Training Ground 7. Thanks, Gigi. Naruto cheered as he ran out of the gym. Get Tenzo over here to fix this before someone sees. Yes, Hokage-sama. You always make my life more interesting, Naruto. Hiruzen thought as he vanished in a leaf whirlwind. Training Ground 7. After arriving at Training Ground 7, he found most of his classmates standing in groups of 3. What's going on? Naruto asked as he walked over to where Kiba, Shikamaru, and Choji were standing. There you are, Naruto. Where were you? Shikamaru asked. It took a while to complete the last trial. I came as soon as I could though. I knew you would pass. Sasuke has been telling everyone that your scores were so bad they probably kicked you out of the trial. Choji said while munching on some chips. Did he now? Naruto's eyes narrowed. Do you know what this trial is? Kiba asked. No, what are we doing? The Jonin, Kakashi Hatake, is running this trial. And he told us to form groups of 3 in preparation to begin our trial. Shikamaru. So, I have to find 2 people to partner with. No, there are only 2 people left after all. Who? Shino and Hinata. Kiba, what? Why are they the only 2 left? They're strong. The 3 boys glanced at each other before Shikamaru broke the silence. Sigh, everyone looks down on Hinata because of how timid she is. And Shino just creeps everyone out. Fine then. I'm going to go join up with them. Naruto yelled. We'll show them just how strong they are. He snarled as he made his way over to where Hinata and Shino were standing. Hey, Hinata-chan. Hey, Shino. I'm with you too. If you don't mind that is. He asked after having made his way over. I do not mind. Shino, not at all, Naruto. Hinata, great. So where did the Jonin go? Glad you could join us, Blondie. Ah. Naruto fell over after he heard a voice whisper in his ear. Still doing that, huh? Naruto looked up at the Jonin and the first thing he saw was the silver gravity-defying, because, screw gravity, right? Hair. Hey, I remember you. You're bushy brow sensei's friend. Sigh, I guess you could say that. Though the name is Kakashi Hatake. And I'm your examiner for the last trial. Kakashi walked to the center of the clearing and called all of the groups over. Listen up everyone. Your trial for today is simple. 5 Chunin walked into the middle to stand behind Kakashi. These ninja, 2 of which you may recognize, Iruka and Mizuki, are here today to help simulate a mission you may be asked to complete. What's the mission, Kakashi-sensei? Sakura, capture and retrieval. What are we capturing and what do we retrieve? Shikamaru, each team is assigned 1 Chunin. That you must bring back to me alive, and you must also retrieve an object that he has stolen. The 5 Chunin walked forward to greet their respective groups. Looks like you 3 are with me. Mizuki said with a smile as he walked up to Naruto, Hinata, and Shino. However, everyone got quiet again. There has been a special condition added onto this trial, by Hokage-sama. What is it? Kiba asked. Whichever group completes this trial first, if any of you can, will be allowed to choose 1 jutsu each from the Hokage's personal library. That started a big commotion. And everyone was talking about which jutsu they would pick when they won. Chunin, you have a 30-second head start. Better make it count. The 5 took off into the forest at high speeds. Don't worry you two. We'll find him first, Shino quietly said. How? Naruto asked. Shino held up a finger that had a tiny beetle on it. My hive can always find one of their own. So no matter how far he runs, he can't hide from me. And with my Byakugan, I'll be able to see if he uses chakra. Hinata muttered. Excellent, then you just leave the catching up to him part, to me. Naruto said with a smile as he placed his arms on their backs. Ninja. You have 3 hours to catch your Chunin or you fail. And they aren't going to just let you catch them either, so be prepared for a fight. All of the kids got into position. Shino noticed that Naruto still had his arms on his and Hinata's backs. Naruto, what are you doing? When Kakashi yelled go, Naruto grabbed hold of the 2 of them and jumped. The ground caved in where they were just standing and they were flying through the sky in just under 2 seconds. Naruto held onto them tightly while they were soaring through the sky. Didn't want them to get left behind after all. Where is he? Naruto yelled over the wind. He is over there. How are we going to land now? Shino asked. Hee. What do you mean land? So, we are going to crash then. Nah, I'm just joking with you, Shino. I do this all the time. Okay then. The 3 of them soon caught up to Mizuki. So before Naruto passed him, he pushed Hinata and Shino a little further away from himself. To Hinata's disappointment. And he kicked the air at such speed that it propelled them back towards the earth. On a collision course with Mizuki. Mizuki heard Naruto's kick break the sound barrier, so he looked up just in time to see them about to crash into him. Whoa. He ducked and rolled to the side to avoid them. Naruto flipped his body around so that his feet would hit the ground first. And when they did, he continued running a little bit to kill their momentum. So he wouldn't hurt Shino and Hinata. Before doubling back to take on Mizuki. Hey, Mizuki-sensei. We're going to need you to come with us. Naruto said as he sat down his cargo. Read his teammates. Laughs, not likely brat. Mizuki responded as he grabbed the big shuriken off his back to prepare to throw it. Pat until Naruto appeared behind him and tapped his back. Sending him rolling along the ground until Hinata stopped him by hitting him in his tenketsu, rendering him unable to move. So, want to go back the fun way, or walk? Shino seemed to want to throw up. Hinata didn't seem to mind too much though. Let's walk, please. Okay. Naruto easily agreed as he bent down and picked Mizuki up. Wait, does he have what we were supposed to retrieve? Shino asked. Hinata used her Byakugan to check his pockets and found a stone with the word, retrieve, written on it. It looks like it, that was enough for Naruto. So he just continued carrying Mizuki until they reached Training Ground 7 once again. We're back Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi looked up from his book to see Naruto, Hinata, and Shino walking into the clearing. And Mizuki was slung over Naruto's shoulder. Did you also get the item back? Yes, sir. Naruto replied as he reached inside Mizuki's satchel to pull out the stone. Very good you 3, you pass. In first place too. Head on home, but meet back at the academy tomorrow morning to see if you get your headbands. Yes, sir, the 3 of them responded. Hey, Hinata, Shino. Want to go get some ramen with me? Sure. Shino, alright. Hinata, and Naruto. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. How about before you go off to celebrate, you leave Mizuki here, That was when Naruto realized he was still carrying Mizuki. Hee. Sorry about that Mizuki-sensei. He sat Mizuki down and the 3 went off to eat ramen at Ikiraku's, before splitting up and heading to their respective homes. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.